Welcome to EVO SPORTS. We are here again, weekend of football. Chelsea versus Brentford. It was a very, very interesting game. Mr. Kema, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I know you are a hard
Thank you so very
die
much.
Chelsea fan, but I know your smile. You're not really smiling like the
No,
way you
I'm
used
supposed
to.
to smile. The way I'm smiling is still okay because I still have some things in the back to explode.
What do you have in the back to explode that you did not explode against Brentford?
No, it doesn't matter. It was a derby game. And that was the fourth London game we were playing. You understand me? My only annoyance was that I was winning the game at 93 minutes. After 90 minutes, the extra 3 minutes that they gave, that was when they equalized. But to me, it was a fair game. Though the coach started with some players that I never thought he would start with. But I guess it was because of the Champions League. That's why he started there. So to me, it was a fair game and a fair result.
Okay, from the analysis perspective, when we put out the game, the formation of Chelsea against Brentford, you as a Chelsea fan, when watching the game, how did you see? For me, what I saw was a bit poor from Chelsea, especially in the first half.
Yes.
But I would like to hear from you as a Chelsea fan. Let me know whether you are going to be biased or you are going
No,
to support.
why will I be biased? Why will I be biased? The line when the players fired out from the tunnel, I saw the lineup. I didn't like the lineup because I noticed that he made some changes, and which I believe it was because of Champions League that he made the changes. But at the first 15, 20 minutes, Chelsea wasn't playing. The midfield was poor. The defensive line were flat, especially from the side of Fofana. I didn't enjoy it. Then the midfield being flat was because of Bonote that was introduced, and I still strongly believe that he has not still understood the Chelsea kind of play. Though we played with our usual 4-2-3-1 formation, and you could see that Pedro Neto, you could see that João Pedro will leave that his line to come back to the midfield to collect ball. You see, to collect ball and make one or two moves. So that's what I feel happened in the first half, and Gittins himself didn't even come to the party. You understand? But you could understand that when changes were made in the second half, Chelsea started playing well.
You know, I've always said it. Anytime Chelsea hears about any young player in Europe, they want to buy. In fact, if possible, Chelsea want to buy all the whole under 20 players in the whole world. But at the end of the day, I swear too, if you check the last 4-5 years, how many of these young guys have they bought that have really succeeded in the team without being loaned out or without being sold out? But right now, this young player that have been bought, this Arato that played left full back from Ajax that replaced Cucurella in the first lineup. Then we have a Facundo, which is the Bernardo from Brighton. From Brighton. And some of these young players, how are they faring so far?
I think they are coming into a new team, and a different ball game totally, a new structure, and virtually everything to them is new. So I think that they are still learning. They are still learning from the Chelsea's tactics. You understand? And secondly, I strongly believe that with time, most of them, this is their first start. Somebody like Facundo, then Ato.
Yeah.
Then Gittins, this is not his first start, but these two people that I've mentioned, this is their first start, and they are just coming to the Premier League, a different ball game. I strongly believe with time, they will gel.
Now, seeing these Gittins, Joao Pedro and all of these guys, especially Gittins, for me, he has not lived up to expectation. And even when Chelsea went to buy this guy, for me, I've seen him in Borussia Dortmund. I felt like selling Madueke, selling some of these your young guys, and buying somebody like this. Does he really worth that amount? One, is he really capable of replacing it? Is he an upgrade of the player that you guys are selling? Because not just because this guy have stayed so long, maybe you believe Madueke or you bought one player last season, then you want to offload the person because you saw another young player. But are Chelsea management really seeing these players as people or as players that can replace or that is an upgrade of this, or they just feel like these are the young prospects in Europe who just want to be in possession of most of these players? How do you see them?
One, Chelsea is undergoing a project. They are building. You understand? They are still building. Secondly, you should understand that somebody like Gittins and Ato, this is a second game playing. I don't think that he's a bad player. He's not. I have watched him in Borussia Dortmund. I saw his moves.
But is he better than the people or the player that you are sold?
I strongly believe that he's better than, in quote, Madueke, that I sold to Arsenal. That I dashed to Arsenal.
You dashed, but yes, you collected money for it.
I collected money. I was supposed to collect like 150 million pounds. But I just gave Madueke to Arsenal just for 52 million pounds because Arsenal is my sister club. I just want to upgrade them. But that's by the way. Gittins, I believe, will step up to his game.
Okay, the game against Brentford as a whole, how did you see that match? From defense line, Tosin played Fofana played from right back.
No, it was okay. Fofana played
Fofana
from the
played
right
right back. So Tosin played with Chaloba. Then we have that Ato from the left back. Then in the midfield
was
Fakunde. Fakunde played in front. Then we have Enzo and Casido.
Fernandez and Caicedo.
Then we have the Fakunde, yes.
Fakunde, Gittins and Neto, Pedro Neto.
Then up front,
Joao Pedro.
For me, when I was watching the game, I saw some lapses, from these attackers. In the first half, I saw Pedro Neto. Whenever I caught the ball, he tried to play in so many attacking balls into the 18-yard ball, which was a very good play that maybe if some of those players that came in the second half had been in the first half, probably they would have gotten a goal. He was playing a very good ball into the 18-yard ball, which I like from a winger, because anytime he collects the ball, he always look up and play those balls. But I think like Gittin and Joao Pedro, most time playing Joao Pedro, I'm always of the opinion that he is not a natural nine. And bringing out the best from Joao Pedro, he needs to come to the midfield or to play from the side. But whenever you play him up front, he will not be patient enough to stay, because a natural nine will always sit in front expecting attacking ball to come. That was exactly what Brentford striker Shade was doing for Brentford against Chelsea, because the striker knows and he have that understanding between him and Henderson in the first half, then even in the second half, because I saw that whenever Brentford have the ball, the first thing that striker does is to begin to run to space, because he knows very well that Henderson will bring that ball in. So that means there's an understanding between the striker and the midfielder. And anytime Henderson have the ball, once you just look up and saw that run, you see that he play to the left side, right side or middle, and that was what got them, I think, the first goal or so. Then now Chelsea playing in that game like that, I did not see that kind of attacking play. Whenever they get the ball also, and then in that defense line, Tosin was outpaced in that defense line, because he does not really have that speed to match up with that guy. So most times, and I feel like when you know you don't have speed, you are not supposed to keep your opponent 50-50 or maybe staying behind. You should be able to cover some certain parts, so that in case if a ball is being played behind you, you will be the one to just chase the ball first. Or if you see any movement, you should be able to be the one to take off, not just waiting to see or trying to keep offside. Because I think that was what happened between Tosin and that striker, made the striker to get that goal. So from your own analysis now, how can you explain or what really happened to Chelsea that made Chelsea got lost in the first half?
One, the coach of Brentford, Kurt Andrews, came with a game plan, which he succeeded. Secondly, the formation he used was a 3-5-2 formation, meaning choking the midfield.
Okay.
That was his game plan. Thirdly, he wanted at all times his strikers should be isolated from the Chelsea's defense, which was exactly how they got the first goal. Thirdly, Fofana was not complimenting Tosin. Fofana exposed Tosin so much that it looks as if Tosin wasn't doing anything. Meanwhile, he was playing well. You could understand that when these other players got into the game, entered at the second half, you saw that the game changed.
Yes.
You understand what I mean? So it was the game plan of the coach of Brentford. And fourthly, Brentford, they were very good at their balls, especially at throw-ins.
Yeah, Kayode.
Yes, they had three players that could throw very well. Kayode, Pinnock, and Shade himself. Three of them could throw very well. They tried it on several occasions. It didn't work. But lastly, the last one worked, which was the equalizer. So I give kudos to the coach. It was he came up with the game plan and it worked for him. But all in all, Chelsea played well. It wasn't a loss. They tried.
So you are satisfied with that result?
Yes, I'm satisfied.
The second goal. What happened to that second goal? How come? Who will you blame for the second goal?
I will blame the defense. The defense was flat. I will blame the defense. I believe they felt they had already won the game. They gave 60 minutes and they scored at 93 minutes. They gave the total. It was flat. They felt they had already won the game. The blame comes to the whole defensive line.
So with this performance now, can you say that if you have injury worries, maybe to your key players like Opama and then maybe Casido also, because for now Casido and Enzo have been playing very
Yes.
well. So peradventure we have about 30-something matches to go in the league. We have Champions League to play. We have FA Cup and Cali Cup. Can you say that you have a very good bench or you have a poor bench that can compete because winning the league or competing in the top four requires a very strong squad? From what you saw in that Brentford game, that those players could not match up with Brentford. That's why that Brentford also lost some good players like Mbemo, like Wissa. You understand me now? So although they brought in
They didn't lose them to injury. They didn't lose them
yes,
to-
they
they
sold
sold
them.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
they-
talking
they
about
created
Brentford
the
this
money.
season to compare to
Okay.
Brentford last season. You understand? So can you say that you have a good bench or you have a poor bench that can help your team achieve something if your first team are not playing?
No, I have a very good bench. I can achieve that that can push my team forward. If you come to go to the keepers area, I have Jorgensen. Then the back line, anybody can play at the back line. But that midfield that you mentioned, Caicedo and Fernandes, I still have Santos and Esugo in that midfield. They play the same role with the two players I've mentioned.
Are they good enough to
They are
replace
good enough.
them?
They are good enough to marshal the midfield.
Okay, we'll see.